everybody. This is Jimmy, and it's Monday, February 18th, 2019. Happy Monday, everybody. Today's message is about truth. I know we hear the word truth a lot in the media, on the news and stuff, the fake truths, the alternative truths, etc. And I've touched on truth before. But today I'm going to talk about spiritual truths. We, each and every one of us, in our spiritual walk, in our spiritual evolution, have our own truths. Okay? Most of your spiritual and religious beliefs have common threads about truth. As long as a truth is of the light, and as long as the truth comes from a place of love, and as long as a person's spiritual truth doesn't harm anybody, including himself, then that's the truth. That's your litmus test. When you look at a person and you look at their truths or their spiritual walk, not their religious walk, but their spiritual walk, don't come from a place of judgment, but come from a place of love. You know, my spiritual truth today is different from what it was 10 years ago. And it's different from what it was 30 years ago. As we grow and evolve physically, hopefully, we also grow and evolve spiritually. And part of that growth process is learning new truths as we get to different levels. Each level that we ascend has different truths and new truths. But let this be your litmus test. I like to use the word litmus test. It makes me feel like I'm so scientific. But let me use this litmus test. Or you should use this litmus test. If the person's truth or your new truth doesn't harm anybody, and it has the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and it comes from a place of love, of compassion, of peace, then that's the next truth to ascend to. But if a truth you're looking at or thinking about making part of your truth has any kind of bias, any kind of negativity, any kind of hatred or judgment, discard that truth. That's not your truth. And when you run into others that have a truth for themselves that has a negative energy, lie, bigoted prejudice, stay away from them. Because those are false truths. A true truth comes from a place of love. I guess maybe I should recant that. There are dark people, I guess, and entities that have negative truths. But the true truth comes from the light. So, when a new truth approaches you in your evolution, don't be afraid to embrace it. You know, years ago, I was raised a non-denominational born-again Christian. Well, that's not my truth, and I'm not knocking that, because that's what helped get me on my spiritual path, along with the customers at the restaurant I worked at for 100 years. It's a light center. It's a restaurant, but it's a light center, too. I've met so many spirit-based people there. And who's to say my truth in another 20 years will be different from the truth I'm in now? That's the thing about evolving and growing, metamorphosing. We are all divine spiritual beings having a human experience, reconnecting with our truth, evolving with our truth, metamorphosing from this caterpillar to this big, beautiful spiritual butterfly. Allow yourself to metamorphose. Don't be afraid. You know, for years I was afraid to even get into the spiritual because of my religious upbringing. Then finally one day I had that wow, I could have had a V8 moment, and I decided, you know what, there is something to this. Don't allow judgments or fears to hold you back. You will know in here, your heart of hearts, your Christ center, your God consciousness, your universe consciousness, source consciousness. Because I have to be politically correct and name them all so I don't get chastised by people that are watching but not hearing hearing the message. Medicine, well, that could be a good way to describe some of my messages as medicine. But don't be afraid to embrace a new truth, a new level, because each level has more truths, more divine beingness. Anyways, I kind of rambled on in this message. I wanted to talk about the spiritual truths and the evolution of spiritual truths. I hope this helps people out there today that are kind of like pulling the parking brake on their spiritual evolution because they're not sure if the next truth is acceptable or good for them or if it's a truth. But you can never go wrong when it's the truth of the light and comes from love. Have a great and blessed, wonderful, Buddhalicious Monday. Blessings and namaste.